a deadly problem that inspired the century's greatest scientist. Berlin, 1925. Albert Einstein, the Albert Einstein, solver of secrets of the universe, was about to turn inventor to keep people safe and their morning glass of milk cold.
Einstein was a very quiet person. He spoke with a slightly squeaky voice, and he was self-effacing and a bit modest.
The rest of the world saw Einstein as the greatest of scientists. He had already won the Nobel Prize in physics, and then he astounded the world of science with his theory of general relativity. But one particular morning, he was not thinking about relativity or quantum physics. He was drawn to a horrifying story in the morning paper about a fridge that had killed an entire family overnight.
The refrigerator leaked ammonia into the apartment, which is toxic and which eventually filled the rooms and killed the family.
At the time, the household refrigerator was a recent invention, but it used deadly toxic gases such as ammonia as coolants to absorb heat from the food chamber. Einstein set himself a new challenge. Could his great mind design and build a safer fridge? And he knew just the man to help. He contacted his friend Leo Szilard, a Hungarian student physicist.
Both of them were humanitarians, both of them were pacifists, and both of them responded on a personal level when they read that a family had been destroyed by a faulty refrigerator.
Szilard himself went on to create nothing less than nuclear fission, but at the time, the pair were fixated on a fridge. They saw that the fridge had several mechanical moving parts to circulate the liquid coolant, one being a compressor pump. It rattled constantly. And that created wear and tear on the surrounding valves and seals. They realized that it was from these mechanical moving parts where the toxic coolant leaked. The challenge was to design a fridge that moved the liquid coolant without mechanical parts. As physicists, they both knew about electromagnetic energy. Einstein thought they could harness that energy to push the coolant through the fridge's coils. But to succeed, they needed an additional element. A liquid metal that was a strong conductor of electricity. Szilard suggested a sodium-potassium alloy. The idea was to send an electrical current through the liquid metal. The resulting magnetic field would turn the liquid metal into a type of piston that pushed the coolant through the refrigerator's coils. But early on in their experiments, they found a problem. The sodium-potassium alloy was too acidic, and it corroded the wires they had inserted into the tube to create a current.
So they needed another method.
Einstein's brain came up with a solution. Remove the electrical wires inside the tube and replace them with electromagnets in the form of coils around the outside.
Imagine yourself taking a string of sausage and squeezing the sausage as it goes around. The magnets were in effect doing the same thing.
By sending electricity through the electromagnets, it would create magnetic fields that penetrated the tube. The magnetic forces would push the liquid metal through the tube, forcing the fridge coolant to keep moving as well. What Einstein had developed was the world's first electromagnetic pump, a pump with no moving parts. Within a few months, they had a prototype ready to test. When they turned it on, it worked. The milk was cold, and they had made the kitchen a safer place. But their design did have a significant drawback.
It started making louder and louder sounds. Somebody who was there said it howled like a banshee.
That didn't deter the two theoretical physicists. But to lesser mortals, the howling fridge was a hard sell. What made it even harder to sell was, in 1929, scientists discovered Freon, a non-toxic coolant that eliminated the reason for the Einstein fridge. But the domestic invention conceived by the world's great brains was used in an even more important role, in nuclear power plants, cooling the reactors.
Nuclear breeder reactors are now operating around the world, and they all depend on the idea that came up in Einstein's apartment in Berlin.
It was the type of ending one would expect when two of the 20th century's greatest minds sat down to build a better fridge.